Hey everybody out there, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan. You're in my corner and I have a very special, excited guest in the corner as well. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi guys, my name is Alexis Tipton and I am a voice actress for Funimation Entertainment.
And I have to say, it was kind of funny because I kept saying your last name over and over again.
Oh.
I really like your last name because you can kind of use it to like, I'm part of the Tipton line, you know?
Well, it's actually funny. You're the first person who has made a comment about my last name in that way, that it sounds like regal or something. Everyone at work, I have so many different nicknames at work. Like Terry Doty calls me Lexi Tip Top, and some people call me Tippy, and some people call me Tippy Top, and it's like, yeah, and then there's some other dirty things that other people have thought of, but we won't go into that, so. But, yeah, so apparently other people have fun with my last name too, which is exciting.
Well, hopefully nobody's done the I'm a Little Teacup song to your name.
Oh, no. No, you're gonna give people ideas.
I just thought of that. I'm ruining your social life, I apologize.
Next person I see, they're going to start singing that just because of you. Thanks.
I'm sorry. Well, record it and we'll put it up on the website. Wait, that's not...
That would be awesome. No, I would laugh. It'd be funny.
Now, I'm kind of curious because I haven't seen a lot of background information as to how you got into the industry. So could you...
Well, do you want me to explain?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I have been an anime fan for quite a long time. I've been an anime fan since officially since I was in middle school. Before I was in middle school, I kind of watched anime, but I didn't know that that's what it was. And then when I was in middle school, somebody put a name to it. And so I've been an anime fan for a while, and I've also been an actress for a while. I've done a lot of stage theater throughout my life. And when we moved to Texas when I was in middle school, at the time Funimation was at its old location, which was like 45 minutes away from where I was living. And I was like, how cool, Funimation is relatively close, and I decided that I kind of wanted to, when I was in high school, I decided that I wanted to sort of combine my interest in anime and my passion for acting, and I just thought that, hey, like being a voice actor would be so much fun, and it incorporates, two of the things that I love. And so when I was a senior in high school, I submitted a demo reel of my voice and a resume, and they called me in for an audition at the old location. And Leah Clark was directing One Piece and holding auditions for One Piece, and I auditioned, and she said, "Oh, okay, we'll let you know in a couple of weeks." Well, a couple of weeks went by, I didn't hear anything, and I was like, I guess I didn't get anything. Well, my freshman year of college, I decided to go away to school. I went to Lubbock, to Texas Tech. And while I was there, I was like, I really, really want to try again. Like, I don't think I'm going to be satisfied unless I go home and try again. And I also didn't want to stay in Lubbock anymore because it's Lubbock. But, so I transferred back home. I transferred to the University of North Texas. And about that time, Funimation, moved to Flower Mound, which was about 20 minutes from my house. And I was like, good sign. So, I actually, I resubmitted, and at the time, they had an opening as a marketing intern at Funimation, and I thought, well, theater is kind of all I know. It might be a good idea to learn about something else, and why not at Funimation? So, at the same time, I got the job, I became a marketing intern, and, at the same time, Tara Williams, our talent coordinator, was like, "Wait a second, is your name Alexis Tipton?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "We tried to call you back when you auditioned for One Piece, but we were in the middle of moving and we lost your information."
Oh.
And I was like, "Oh my God." So, she got my information again, and they called me in for another audition about a week later, and it was with Leah Clark again, and it was for Tower of Duraga. And she remembered me. She was like, "Wait a second, didn't you audition for One Piece like a year ago?" And I was like, "Yes." And she was like, "I remember you." And then she basically told me again, like, "We lost your information. I wanted to get a hold of you, but I didn't know how." And so I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so happy that I came back and tried again." And so I interned for about a year in marketing, and then I was fortunate enough to get a lot of work, and I couldn't balance it with school anymore, so I had to quit. But it all worked out, and I'm so happy I decided to do what I did. So that's the long version.
Oh, wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's funny, we've kind of, I guess, pegged a new term here. We refer to Funimation as sort of the Disneyland of anime. Just because...
It is kind of true. If you take a tour of the building, there's like colorful, pretty things everywhere. So, I guess it's kind of like a theme park.
Well, I'd really like to see it myself, but I'm all the way in Nevada, so I gotta, like, driving or traveling to do if I want to get to that.
Well, if you're ever in the area, I'm sure someone would be happy to give you a tour, because it's pretty awesome.
That would be great. I mean, I've just heard, like, really cool stories, like, the vending machines are cheap, are there skateboards around?
Yeah, we get, Cokes for 25 cents. It's pretty awesome.
Jealous.
And then I go to school, and they're like $1.25, and I'm spoiled by the quarter Coke machine.
Like, I'm not gonna get that. I'm gonna wait.
I know. I'm like, for $1.25, I think I can resist. Never mind.
So now you said you were an anime fan when you were a kid. Was there like a gateway anime or one that is really nostalgic?
Well, I think the first anime that I ever saw, but very briefly because I was so young that I didn't understand TV schedules. I caught a couple episodes of Sailor Moon when I was in grade school, and I thought it was so cool. And then I didn't see anything again for a really, really long time. And then I started watching, my brother and I watched Toonami together after school, and we watched a lot of like Dragon Ball Z and, stuff like that. So I guess Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z were my gateway anime.
Well, those were mine as well. It's just I remember with Dragon Ball, as a little kid when I was like 9, I was like, why do they keep fighting? They're just fighting. Stop it. There was no sparkles or anything pretty like Sailor Moon.
Why is there so much yelling? Well, I remember like my brother would be like, hey, come watch this with me. He's 4 years older. And I was like, no, that's just for boys. And then like a year later, I was like, this show's actually really good. Oh, what does that mean? And then he's like, no, lots of girls watch this show. So I didn't feel bad, but yeah, it was a little too masculine for me at first, and then I kind of warmed up to it.
Yeah, that's the way I kind of was, but I was still a big Moonie. I still am. It's kind of sad. I just watch old anime.
No, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Seriously, anime is anime.
Definitely. And so when you got into, voice acting and working at Funimation, were you able to adapt to dubbing pretty easily, or did you have a hard time with it at first?
Well, I think I probably had a little bit easier of a time with it than other people, who first start out, just because I had watched so much anime before I went. And, some people that work at Funimation, it's about half and half. Some people that work there, they just work there. Like, they didn't even really know what anime was until they started working there. Like, they were actors, they were professional actors, but not with anime. So, like, they didn't really have that experience to draw from, like, before they went in. And since I had been used to, like, seeing how, the cartoons move their mouths, and I guess in a way it kind of helped out a little bit, but, like, stage acting is way different than voice acting, and, the basic foundation is the same, so that helps. It helped me to easily communicate with my director. Like, I understood, like, what she was telling me, and I understood, like, the vocabulary, for lack of a better term, that she was using. But really, in the beginning, it was kind of just trial and error. Like, I didn't feel that it went so horribly that I was wasting people's time, but at the same time, like, knowing what I can do now and looking back on when I first started, like, there's a huge difference. Like, I've learned so much. And so, it's challenging though. Like, it looks a lot easier than it is. So, but definitely practice, a lot of practice has helped immensely. It's kind of one of those things where it's easier to learn by doing than just by reading about it or by watching somebody else. Like, it's one of those things where experience really makes the difference.
Yeah, I figured as much. You don't get to see many times where voice actors are in the booth, and those small times you just get little snippets of it, and you hear how difficult it is, and maybe sometimes it can be, oh, well, I had a musical background, so I picked up on it, but other times it's like, I don't know what I was doing. So.
Yeah, and they say that just generic voice work is one of the hardest kinds of acting, and anime voice acting is the hardest kind of voice acting, and the most underappreciated. Because some people think that with Japanese animation, some people just are like, oh, well, you're just copying something that was already there. You're just copying the Japanese that was there before it. And so I think it's a little underappreciated by some other people, but most people concede that it is the hardest form of voice acting because the flaps were animated for another language, but they don't always adhere to them, we've noticed. So it's like, oh, that didn't fit. Okay, well.
Well, on top of the flaps, you also have to, listen to the Japanese performance and then sort of adapt that because some Japanese performances aren't going to fly like kawaii desu. That's not going to work, right? So I can understand.
Yeah, well, and like during the script writing process, obviously the story and the ideas are as similar as they can possibly be, but our cultures are just so different. There are some things that just really don't translate into English very well. Like our humor, one of the things that I think that is the most difficult in the translation process is the humor. Like we have very different humor than they do. And so a joke that they may think is hilarious, we're like, what? Like that doesn't make any sense. So it has to be changed and adapted so that American audiences can be like, oh, hey, it's funny, yay. But, they may not necessarily understand like what the Japanese were going for when they first wrote the script. So there's a lot of difficulties in that too. But it's just one big complicated process.
I can understand that. And now one thing I've always wanted to ask, and since you've been in it for a while, I'm kind of curious if we can go back to when your first role was out on DVD. Did you go to the store and buy it? Like, did you get a free copy? Like, did you freak out and watch it over again? What did you do the first time?
Well, one of the awesome perks is that we are guaranteed free copies of titles that we're a part of, as long as there are it's kind of like a how important are you in the show? Like all the leads, like you're guaranteed like your own copy, and then if you're like a smaller role, if there's extras, you'll get a copy. It's sort of that type of thing. But it's funny because the first show that I was in was Tower of Duraga, but it wasn't the first thing that came out. So that was kind of interesting. The first show that came out was Kaze no Stigma, which I just did a character in it that she was in one episode and she had like 20 lines or something, and she beat up a pervert with a baseball bat, and that was the first thing that came out, and so that was really interesting. And I remember I was so excited. I took it home and I was like, oh, Mom, Dad, I got this. It's like my first thing that's finally out, because it's like I'm used to it now, but it takes a long time for things to come out. And so at the beginning, I was like, when's it going to come out? When's it going to come out? Oh my gosh, when's it going to come out? And I was so excited. And it was just like this one episode, but I just remember I was like, we were all just so excited, and it was just so surreal, like hearing my voice like up on a TV screen. And it's, and even now, like, like almost 3 years later, like I still kind of get like euphoric when I like see a show for the first time, because I just get giddy because it's fun.
Oh, I think that's cute, honestly. And now I think with that, we're going to take a very short break here on 91.8 The Fan. But don't go anywhere, because our special guest isn't going to go anywhere. At least I hope not. Yeah, exactly. So stay tuned to 91.8 The Fan. Everything you want and nothing you don't.
Hi, I'm the Celtic Guardian, but you guys can call me Dave. When I'm not busy being sacrificed in order to summon monsters that are halfway useful, I like to listen to 918 The Fan, one of the hottest online radio shows on the worldwide internet highway. Did I mention I have like 1,400 attack points? That's a big deal in my world, Plus, I have a sword. Does the Blue Eyes White Dragon have a sword? No. Fuck the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Seriously.
Hey everybody out there, welcome back to 91.8 The Fan. We are still sitting in the corner, and we didn't have to tie up our guest or anything. She didn't leave.
I'm still here.
Yeah, she was very willing to stay here, which is kind of nice. We never have people who want to stay for a long time. No, I'm kidding.
Aw, that's sad.
I like to make jokes. They're very bad jokes, but I like to make them anyway. And we were kind of talking behind the scenes. We wanted to essentially know if there's anything that recently came out or that you're working on that you can pimp out to the listeners out there.
I would very, very, very much like to pimp out a show that came out, it was like a week and a half ago.
Yeah, April 10th, I think it was.
Oh, yeah, April 12th, and it's a little gem called Gare Zero, and it is a really, really awesome show. It's awesome. And it's also part of an experimental sale thingy-ma-do that Funimation is doing where they have released not only the entire series on DVD, which it's only 12 episodes, it's pretty short, but they release the Blu-ray with it. It's all one thing. So you get the DVD, it's 3 discs in the DVD set, and then 2 discs in the Blu-ray, and it all comes together in one beautiful package. So it's kind of like what Disney has been doing with the double releases of the new movies that come out of the vault. They'll release like the DVD with the Blu-ray. So and it's a perfect show for Blu-ray. It's gorgeous. It's just the story's great, and I'm a little biased because it's my new favorite show because I got to play a really awesome character. But the entire cast is just phenomenal. So I really, 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 really recommend it.
Are you allowed to tell us anything about your character without giving too much away?
Yeah, one of the reasons that Gare Zero is such a cool show is that the first 2 episodes actually are up on Funimation's video streaming portal for free. First 2 dubbed episodes, if you want to watch them and see if you like it. But the first 2 episodes are actually the end of the series, and then after the second episode, it's one of those, look at all this stuff. There's chaos. There's people dying. We don't know what's going on. Let's show you all the events leading up to it. So it's sort of this like trippy, like twisty-turny, like you see the end of the show and then it shows you like, oh my god, what caused that to happen? And then you just see the journey that all these characters go on and how everything just falls apart. And it's really, really cool. And my character is a victim of much falling apart. So the character I play her name's Yomi, and she's very strong, she's very tough, she's adopted into a family that has a spirit beast that has been passed on to her, and there's all this controversy because she's not of the bloodline, she was adopted. So there's drama going on with that, and she's a part of a group that exorcises demons and spirits within Tokyo, and only certain people are able to see the spirits. So it's it's easy to hide from people, but there's all this stuff going on with that, and she sort of takes this young exorcist named Kagura, played by Leah Clark, under her wing, and they fight together and they do all sorts of cool things together, and Yomi is sort of her mentor for a while, and they develop this really, really strong bond, but then all these outside forces just kind of interfere, and I won't spoil anything, but just all kinds of drama goes down, and it's really awesome.
What a twist!
I know, what a twist! So, so you should definitely check it out. It's just very, it's full of, like, I don't think there's a single character in there that doesn't have depth, that doesn't have a story, that doesn't have growth and development. And a lot of times in anime series, the characters are very one-dimensional and there's no growth. So it was very nice to like have that change. So if you're looking for something very much dark, but also with some lightheartedness, and also that kind of encompasses a lot of what the certain anime genres are lacking, then you should definitely check out that show.
And it must have been nice to kind of not be necessarily mean, but just kind of be like the cool girl,
Yeah, well, she's a bad A. Like, she is like so hardcore, and she also, she goes through a lot of emotions. We'll put it that way. Like I said, I'm trying so hard not to spoil anything, but so definitely check it out. It's really cool.
Well, that must have been fun in the booth, because anytime, you had to, like, you were angry that day, you could be just like, I'm gonna kill somebody now.
No, seriously, and there is much killing, so there were a couple of days where I'm like, I am so stressed. Ooh, I get to yell today. Yay! It was also, I had been playing, sort of like fan servicey characters, like one right after the other before I got to do that show. And, they were a little bit higher pitched, and Yomi was a little deeper in vocal register, and she's also not there's nothing fan servicey about her, except unless, the whole, like, ooh, wow, she has a sword, she's, like, really, like, she's a warrior, that's hot. Like, I mean, I guess that could be considered fan service, but there's no like panty flashing or anything like that. So it was nice, because like before that I'd worked on like Sekirei and Rosario Vampire and like all these other shows that are pretty fan servicey. So it was a nice change of pace.
And I would assume that sometimes, though, isn't the yelling a little bit strenuous, or is that just fun for you?
Well, that's actually something I've had to learn since becoming a voice actress, is that anybody can yell, but not everybody can yell correctly, if that makes any sense. Like it's definitely very, very easy to hurt your voice or to make your voice blow out if you don't yell correctly. Because it's so hard on your vocal cords. And so I actually had to learn to yell properly. Like I knew how to project, but projecting and yelling with a lot of emotion, it's very hoarse and kind of like ragged. That takes practice, and the first couple of times I had to do it in other shows, I hurt myself. So I definitely had to learn how to, push from the diaphragm correctly and have things on hand that could help my throat and help my vocal cords not get damaged, like, tea or like, tea and honey, or there's a wonderful thing called throat coat that comes in a tea bag, and you make it just like you would tea, but there's something in it that sort of coats your vocal cords so that they don't like rub up against each other too harshly. But so with Yomi, it was definitely a learning experience of yelling with a lot of emotion, but not overdoing it and not hurting myself. So definitely learned a lot there.
Well, it sounds like a very fun project, and it sounds really awesome for those who kind of like the a little bit of blood.
Yes, yes.
And all that. And twists.
And twists.
Yeah. I'm glad
Good twist, not M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong twist.
Yes, exactly. I'm glad you know that reference. I do that all the time, and people look at me weird.
It's Robot Chicken. I totally know where you're coming from. I gotcha. Okay, I gotcha.
But I would say, is there any place on the internet where you keep people up to date on anything else that might be coming out, or any projects you're working on?
Well, in terms of just like a resume that gets updated pretty quickly, Anime News Network is a great place to look for updated cast information. The second that there's a cast announcement, some little internet ANN fairy thing updates it. It's not me. I don't know who's doing it, but it always gets updated. And normally I'm very, very active on my Facebook, so lots of stuff gets talked about on Facebook. And I also have a fan club on Facebook now, which I'm really excited about, and a lot of information is displayed there as well. So those are probably the three best places to get up-to-date show information regarding my stuff, at least.
See, I definitely went into stalker mode because I found your live journal and your DeviantArt too. So.
Yeah, my little lonely DeviantArt, and I have an IMDb, but they're not as good about like automatically updating, and you have to like do all this stuff to be in charge of your own account, and I haven't done it yet, and so some of the stuff gets put on IMDb and some of it doesn't, so it's not a very good place to look if you want like up to date stuff, but yeah. So.
Well, I would like to say at the mention of your DeviantArt, and I think a lot of fans will enjoy this, is you're actually a cosplayer.
Yes, I am. And I started cosplaying when I was in middle school, actually, and I'm a senior in college. So I've been at it for a while.
I think that's around the same time I started cosplay.
Oh, really? Oh, cool. I didn't know you cosplay. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think I'm just a year younger than you. I'm 20.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm 21, so there you go.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
But
cool.
I gotta say, I have to say a lot of them were really gorgeous. I really liked the Yuffie one from Code Geass, I believe.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, it's an art book shot, so that was kind of difficult because there's only one picture of it in existence. But yeah, so I enjoy the big like really like, princess. I call them princess dresses. But yeah.
Well, those are so fun to do. A lot of people dread them because, beading work and all that stuff. But
here's something that I'm not ashamed of, and I do not mind admitting this at all. For the bigger costumes, I actually, like for Yuffie and I did the same thing for Seth Nightlord. I think those might have been the only two, but, I went to a thrift store and bought a wedding dress and altered it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So you save like hundreds of dollars on fabric to make like those huge skirts, and and like they're lined, and they're usually made out of really gorgeous material. Sometimes they're beaded already. And then like with the Yuffie costume, the long I call them medieval sleeves, the sleeves that like drape down really long. Those were not a part of the original dress. Like those were added, and then all of the the gold detail work was added also, and then the neckline had to be altered because it wasn't. I forgot what it was. It was like a boat neck or something, and it had to have a square neck, so that was altered. But yeah, I mean, it adds really pretty details. It adds it obviously gives you a cushion for your cosplay budget, and that's really one of the only reasons why I've been able to do bigger costumes, because you can go and get a huge wedding dress with tons of fabric for like $10, and whereas you would spend hundreds of dollars trying to get all of that fabric to make it by hand. And I know that some people, I've never been approached about it directly, but I know that there are probably some like cosplay purists out there that think that that's not okay. I mean, I don't know this for sure. I just am assuming. But, I mean, that's one reason why I don't compete with my costumes, because they're not 100% handmade. But, I mean, I have no problem admitting that, so whatever.
See, I don't necessarily have a problem with that, like, myself. I think everybody's kind of funny how they categorize themselves in cosplay. Like, for me, example, I think that if possible, I think you should try and fit to your body type. Like, for example, I'm not gonna cosplay like Ivy from Soul Calibur.
I totally know what you mean. Like, I do not agree with like I mean, I don't consider myself fat, but there are a lot of costumes that I would not do, because I just think that it's like, woo, like I don't have the confidence to pull that off. If you do, great. If you got the body type, great, but that's not for me.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm one of those people.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, wow. I mean, some people rock it, and good for them, but I'll let them rock it. I'll put it that way.
Exactly. And do you have any conventions coming up where the fans can meet you and stalk you in real life in a nice way?
Yes, please, in a nice way. I just right now I don't have any conventions on the radar with guest status. I just got back from Louisiana this weekend, and that was the last one I had booked. But I'm going to be at A-Kon in Dallas, Texas, as a fan. I've been going every year for as long as I've been cosplaying. I probably won't be there for very long, maybe like a day, maybe two. And then I'll definitely be going to Anime Fest, which is also in Dallas. And it's Labor Day weekend. So those two for sure. And then, I don't know, if I've got time to travel, or if I get booked on something else, I'll probably maybe travel over the summer. But so far, just those two.
And I'm sure you'll let us know on your social networks.
Yes. Facebook's also good for that, because I always post if I'm going to a convention, and I post like, ooh, I'm packing, or ooh, what should I take? Like, I'm very verbal on Facebook, so.
That's not necessarily a bad thing. Some of the fans really love that.
Yeah, it's like if you want to know on like a shallow level, like what I'm thinking, Facebook's a great place to go.
See, I'm really bad with Twitter on that one.
I don't have a Twitter. I don't know. I think it would either be, I would either do absolutely nothing with Twitter, or it would be the opposite extreme. Like, you couldn't get me away from it. Like, it'd be one or the other, and I'm afraid to find out.
I just have my Facebook and my Twitter linked, so I'll post on Twitter and it goes to my Facebook. So.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. But since we're nearing the end of this interview, I'm wondering if you'd like to participate in a 91.8 The Fan tradition.
Oh, snap. Should I be afraid?
No, we ask everyone if they'd be willing to do a radio bump for us.
Oh, sure. Okay,
but here's the catch.
Oh, no.
We do it live on air, so if you do mess up, everybody hears it.
Oh, snap. Okay. Well, I'll give it a shot.
It's like, get out a notepad. You can write it down.
Well, I guess we are on Skype. I guess I could type something.
Yeah, definitely. We basically ask if you'd be willing to say, my name is, You say your name. I do this. You can say a character, or that you're a voice actress, or that you're an actress. And you're tuned into 91.8 The Fan.
And you... I'm typing this down.
No problem. And you are tuned into 91.8 The Fan. Yes.
Okay, I got it.
So take one whenever you're ready.
Wait, what's my name? I forgot. I'm just kidding. Okay, so just anytime?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Alexis Tipton. I'm a voice actress for Funimation Entertainment, and you are tuned in to 91.8 The Fan.
See, that wasn't so hard.
Yeah, because I typed it out.
You're not the only one. Most people mess up the numbers, so you did okay.
98, crap.
And is there anything else you'd like to tell the listeners out there?
I guess just keep supporting the anime dubbing industry, and keep checking back to Funimation's website. We've got a lot of awesome stuff coming out, and also there is an auction charity going on right now on eBay with hundreds and hundreds of items for the relief in Japan. So just go on eBay, find their account. They put updates on it on their blog all the time. So if you see something you like, just go ahead and bid for it.
Awesome, and thank you so much for this. This was a lot of fun.
I had so much fun. Thank you so much.
And we'll make sure to post this up on the website for anybody out there who missed it. Shame on you. I'm looking at you in the back with the hood. It's your fault. But you can find it on our website, 918thefan.com. So keep tuned to your favorite station where we play everything you want and nothing you don't.